Good evening. Welcome to the March 31st Select Board meeting. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by Foxboro Cable Access. We will be going into executive session and returning at 7 o'clock or around that for the main part of the meeting. Start with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session for the Select Board to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property of 75 Central Street pursuant to MGL Chapter 30A, Section 21A6, and it's a roll call vote.
Second, Mark, yes.
Stephanie, yes.
Bill, yes.
Amy, yes.
Debbie, yes.
Okay, we'll see you in about a half hour. Okay, welcome back to the March 31st Select Board meeting. Next thing on the agenda is citizens' input. Do we have anybody for citizens' input? Anybody on Zoom? Okay.
Sure.
Move on to introduction of the new town treasurer collector. Would you like to come up? Marie, come on. Bring your friend.
Oh, this chair's
A low one.
I feel like a midget. I don't know how to work with this. I'll just sit still. So this is Elizabeth, or Ellie, our new treasurer collector. We're excited to have her on board. We went through a process where we had 19 applicants. We ended up with 2 finalists, and she was the top pick out of the 2. For me, obviously we've had Paula here for a very long time, so she'll be missed very dearly by all of us. So for me, it was very important to bring someone on board who not only had the knowledge and the skills, but also had the personality to fit in with the team. You know, the culture here is very important to me. And I think we found that in Ellie, so we're happy to have her on board.
Great.
Thank you.
Ellie, would you want to give us a little bit of your background and just
Sure.
say...
I started my municipal career 10 years ago with the town of Millis.
Can you pull the microphone up?
Sure.
Thank you.
And I worked in the treasurer collector's department, and then I had an opportunity to move into the assessor's department. So that experience really showed me how both departments really work well together under finance. And then for the last 4 years, I've been with the town of Foxboro as a treasurer collector in that role.
Randolph?
Randolph. What did I say?
Oh, you said
Foxborough.
Foxborough. I'm like, wow, we didn't.
I'm excited to be here. So.
Yeah, once you're here, we don't want you to think of the other town.
So no, I was in Randolph for the last 4 years in that role as a treasurer collector, and I really enjoyed the job. So I'm very excited to be joining the team here in Foxboro. I'm excited to just grow as well with the team, and eager to contribute and to contribute to the department's important role. So I'm just very happy to be here, and I'm grateful to be here as well.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
No, have you started already, too? Was there an overlap, a little overlap with us?
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Goodness.
Paula's
Yes.
last day is April 10th.
Oh, so there's going to be a good amount of overlap.
There is, yeah. Yeah, I've had the opportunity to work with her the last 2 days.
Awesome.
It's been nice.
That's good. Well, you have very, very big shoes to fill.
I know.
But with that
No
being
pressure.
said,
Yeah.
I just happened I popped in to ask Paula a question about a week and a half ago, and she said, we have someone to take my place. She said her name is Ellie, and she had nothing but wonderful things to say
That's
about
nice.
you. So I went in with that big shoes, but yet I think I felt like you really had her blessing, which is nice.
It's nice, yes.
It's a great crew that works up here, like Marie said. So we're happy to have you.
Thank you.
And Ellie's commute got much shorter.
Much shorter.
We live in,
A
Rentham?
big plus.
Yeah.
Oh, Brenda, that's
So,
awesome.
I'm in
Much better
It's
commute and nice and close, so that's...
Yeah, there's no easy way to get to Randolph.
No, there's not. There was no easy way to get there.
Probably last Thursday, there wasn't any easy way to get to Rentham either, based on Katie's experience, so we'll talk about that
We'll
later.
go to, oh, yeah, I got some thoughts.
As soon as you walked in, I said to Bill, I said, Oh my goodness, she looks so familiar.
I thought the same thing.
Well, I actually lived in Foxborough for 14 years, and I know you were in the rec department.
Right.
My daughter went to boot camp.
No kidding.
Yeah, so.
There's always a connection to
There's a
boot.
win right there. You just won them over.
Oh, for sure.
Well, anybody else have anything to say? We appreciate you coming on. Obviously,
you.
we hope that you're as proud of this town as we are as far as what we've been able to accomplish, and we have a lot more to do. So, and that position is a very pivotal point, obviously, under Marie. There's a lot of money that's flowing through there. There's a lot of investments that are being dealt with. And so having somebody who can help us take that to the next level is also important to us.
That's my goal. And thank you for the warm welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck. Thanks. See you
Appreciate
soon.
it.
Bye.
Thank you. We'll be seeing you.
I did want to mention too, if you happen to be free on Thursday between 2 and 4,
That, yeah.
please stop by. I'm sure that Paula's not watching this, so it's okay for me.
Did you want a taller chair now, or?
Okay, I'm all right. Should I just stay up here?
Okay, next, 7:15, we're early. Town manager evaluation. Nope.
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 Finance
Town
director.
finance, I'm sorry, finance director contract.
So I can kind of, I know the board's well familiar with the contract. We did meet in executive session at the last meeting. But for the public's edification, the finance director's contract is a term agreement. And this term, it expires this June 30th, 2026. And the select board is the hiring authority and the appointing authority, but I'm responsible for the day-to-day supervision and evaluation. We went through a whole renewal process. Bill served as the board liaison. I did a review of Marie and took in input from the select board members. And we looked at the evaluations, we looked at the market, the board discussed the contract terms, in executive session, provided direction to Mike Mullen and me, and we ultimately came up with a contract that I can give the highlights. The updated annual salary is $176,000. And that is in the middle of the market. It's not the top of the market. It's not the lowest. Annual increases will occur in years 2 and 3 at 3% based on successful performance. The vacation time went from 4 weeks to 5 weeks, and we are allowing Marie to carry over 1 week and sell back 1 week. There's some non-renewal protection. It increased from 3 to 6 months, and there's a severance provision if the town doesn't remember. And as I mentioned during the last meeting, we already have it in our calendar. We cleaned up some legacy language, removed some outdated provisions, and again, confirmed that there will be a performance evaluation to reflect the current practices. So that's a basic summary of the contract, and it's up to the board whether they want to approve it.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract for Finance Director Marie Almadova for the period of July 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2029.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none? Thank you very much, Marie.
Thank you, Marie.
Congratulations.
Thank you
That's
both.
awesome.
Thank you all for the opportunity. Happy to stay here. I do enjoy working here. So.
We enjoy having you here.
Yes, we do.
You'll deal with me for another three years at least.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
I'm all
you.
set, right?
Yeah.
All right, Mike.
So, just moving on to the next item on the agenda, the annual town manager evaluation process. We're proposing to kick that off tonight with the 360-degree evaluations going out tomorrow to department heads and boards and committee chairs. Those 360 evaluations would be due back to us by April 15th. The town manager's self-evaluation would be due to the board by April 22nd, like in the period between April 22nd and May 12th. That would be the time period once we receive the evaluations back from the board, that we would aggregate them in a composite board evaluation, and be ready to wrap up the process in mid-May That includes and incorporates all the comments. Basically the same exact process of last year. The only difference is in this year's evaluation tool, we reflected the current year town manager goals. Basically other than that, like, everything will be the same. We are hoping, we are hoping, and I'm working now to have the evaluation tool to be able to be done online. So we no longer have to deal with PDF fillable forms, in that whole mess. So that's my priority, in the next 13 days. So when we roll that process out to the board, it will be all online, and and make the process smoother for Paige and all of us, because I hear all the time from Paige, she hates the fillable forms. So I take that as a marching order in charge, and that's where we're going. So if the board has any questions, feedback, thoughts, but I just wanted to run the process and the timeline by you tonight.
Yeah, no, I thought the evaluation process that we came up with last year worked very well. I think we were all happy with the end results as far as being able to do the full evaluation. And obviously getting the opinions of the department heads who have to work directly with her on a regular basis is helpful too, to be able to see. So no, I'm personally am very happy with the process that we had developed. So.
Okay. Well, if there aren't any other issues, I'll proceed with the process, and and I'll provide updates back to the board as we go forward as well.
Can you do the dates one more time?
Yes. So the 360 evaluations will be due by April 15th. The town manager's self-evaluation will be due by April 22nd. Then hold on a second. Then from April 22nd, the board will have 2 weeks to complete their evaluation, which brings us to May 6th. And in an ambitious way, I'm hoping that we might be able to wrap the process up by May 12th. If not, we'll wrap it up by the 26th of May. The 12th is ambitious, but based on everything else happening, if we have the ability to get it done, that would be ideal if we can do that.
I'll throw the little wrench in, just so you know. I'm gonna be out of town until the 2nd, so I'm not sure, just,
Okay,
I don't know if I'll have mine for you by the 6th, just to,
Yeah, practically speaking,
To
if
give
it's
you a heads
easier
up.
now to plan for the 24th, I'm sorry, the 26th, I think it was, rather than the 12th, that might be a more realistic date here and there.
And to be honest with you, because of my schedule too,
Yep.
I mean, I'm going to be out for a period at the end of May, the end of April.
Okay.
Beginning of May, so if we could just plan on that, that would be,
Yeah, no, that's super.
I could do it in a day, I suppose, when I get back.
Yeah, no, that's, yeah.
I think once
gonna be way
you've done it, I mean, I know it was a different tool last year, but, I think once we've done it, I'm not as, I remember last year just being like, oh no, like, there's, and just really, not really stressing, but just want to make sure I did a good job, I mean, Paige deserves to have a good evaluation from us, but like, I think once we've done it, it's not so bad. Amy, this will be your first one, right?
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
It is bad.
I thought it was awful.
No, it's not bad. Like, I just thought it was difficult. It took me some time, but maybe you are much better at it.
We'll see.
I'll have questions, if you have questions, you want to answer.
Perfect.
Okay, that's
Okay.
good, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Chief, would you like to come up on the friendly match
We're
discussion?
early.
That's all right.
It's not a,
Not a public hearing, so
Not a
we can
public
do
hearing.
it.
I know. You just walked in the door.
You made it by the skin of your teeth,
you're
huh?
lucky, I was going to say. Shouldn't have stopped for that
Oh, it's
coffee.
7:25, so.
Adam, you don't want to take the heat with him?
No sense.
So can I just start, though, because I have a few letters here. I just want to mention that we did, for, public's edification, we did get emails from a variety of residents, Cross Street, someone who lives near exit 17, someone who lives on Lakeview. I know there was a lot of social media discussion, so just to clarify, we did receive those. We haven't necessarily responded to everyone, although I think one up till today we have, so, but we did tell folks that we'd be talking about it tonight, and hopefully they're watching and aware, and the chief can talk about sort of the perfect storm of what went on.
You ready?
Yep.
All right, so we talk about hosting an international game. There is a lot of metrics of how we measure success and all of the different components that go into it. Traffic is one of the many. So I'm going to go through a couple of things of what occurred on an international soccer game and what actually happens at a lot of events at Gillette. Actually, all of them, the sold-out events. So the layered security plan and how we measure success. Safety and security is the number one goal of these events. That is the most important thing that has to occur. So that all starts with intel sharing from both state, federal, FBI, all the fusion centers that share information. All of that worked perfectly in regards to the planning of this event. The statewide coordination also stood up a team. MEMA stood up their EOC. That EOC was fed information live from Gillette, from the MOC, from SEMREC, and that was seamless. Even though it only stood up for a couple hours, we're going to see that stand up for 39 straight days. So we got a good run on that, and that communication was excellent. Great feedback. The integration of all of our tactical teams that were deployed, we have changed a couple of the platforms in the field and vision in which, and all those interoperabilities and tasks and roles and responsibilities worked very well. The protective capabilities that we lay on top of that, we talk about EOD, CBRN, state hazmat teams, were all in full deployment. We'll see even more for World Cup, and these roll out on a regular basis, but all of that worked very well in regards to communicating, detecting, identifying teams. Our State Department was on scene as we prepare for heads of state and VIPs from across the world potentially, so they were on scene to work through some of their communications, escorts, drop-offs. All of that went very well. They stayed for over almost the whole match. We also, when we run these kind of events, obviously staffing, everything was fully staffed from the law enforcement perspective. And when I say fully staffed, this wasn't World Cup staffing, but it was starting to move in that direction when you include all the state and federal partners. So we were closer to the 1,000 number than we were to the 500. All of that was seamless in regards to our end, checking in, addressing. We had 25 new employees who had never worked at Gillette. We, as a town, have to take them in, process them, make them new employees. This was a Thursday game. We had to have all that in place, up and running, so they got paid on Thursday. All of that worked very well. Our gate security and our crowd management, we tested a lot of different things, pat-downs, queuing for people, pre-ticket scanning to see how the flow and the models went. We didn't do it for all the gates, but we got some excellent intel from that on how we're gonna roll out World Cup, and we're still in the after-action process with that with the stadium. The fans, international soccer game. I can't tell and thank the fans enough. They were fantastic. We had no arrests. We didn't have alcohol-related incidents. We had no missing children. We had no assaults. And so to have an international game of this magnitude, 63,000 people, it was excellent. We had no pyro. No pyro was displayed. Nothing got in. And that also, we had that plan in place to mitigate it, which was all ready to run. That did not occur. We also had our federal partners along with the FAA, and our county UAS teams were in place. We got a TFR for this, And then we had all of our federal response teams on scene. They will take jurisdiction on World Cup games for enforcing the FAA and federal law. They will partner with Foxborough and the state police teams that we usually use on events, but of course, we'll have mitigation as well. That worked well. We had one drone identified, and feds took jurisdiction for that poor fellow who's going to get charged. And so, but there was a TFR in place. We also had the White House Task Force was on scene as well. They were there from the beginning. They were there for our roll call, looking through our whole operation, and expressed extreme confidence in what they saw, and we're very happy with the deployment and the security of the event and the communication that was ongoing with their team, the state and federal partners within the MOC. So when you say, let's look at the event, let's look at the success, that's 95% of it right there. So now, one of the components is traffic. When we talk about the traffic, I just want to give a little bit. All of the ticket holders were notified through the electronic ticket to come early. We open our lots 4 hours early. I did a press conference with the governor. Okay, I got 500 views for my 26-second, don't listen to your GPS. I did 5 other news stations about people need to come early. The TMP was fully in place. There was over 85 state troopers directing traffic when needed. Mass DOT had staff on scene, their vendor monitoring certain areas that they were concerned about. We had 17 traffic posts throughout the town trying to mitigate people using side streets. We found a lot of drivers who are not familiar with the area. They just wanted to go to the stadium side. They did not want to park across the stadium. The ride shares killed us, the Waze. They inundated Foxborough, Walpole, Norfolk, Rentham, all the way to Norwood. South Main Street got crushed. So there's things that the Foxborough Police and the state police can control. What we can't control is that 95 is undersized and inadequate. When I say it's inadequate today because I was coming home from Framingham from a presentation and it took me an hour and a half. Yesterday, they sent a permit out to do pothole repair. They get on the road at 9, they get off by 2. 2.5 hour traffic on 95 South. 95 South is inadequate every single day if you're coming home and it backs up. Mechanic Street is bumper to bumper. It looks like there's a concert. Route 1 is the same design, even with the contra lane, from 1971. We can't change the infrastructure. We can't change 95. So the only thing we can control is messaging. We got a couple great wins in the last couple years when COVID was allowing, the policies were allowing people to work from home. And we saw a drastic decrease on our traffic on our roads, but that seems to have ended. Those days are over and everybody's driving to work or coming home. So if you look at Foxborough and you look at the center of town and you look at our side streets, every person who takes a side road ends up in one location, which is the Main Street extension onto Route 1, which is one lane. So Mechanic Street to Chestnut to 140 from both Rentham and from Mansfield, all funnel to one lane. If they jump on 140, all those lanes get consolidated to the breakdown lane on Route 1. And you can only get so much water through the straw. And that's essentially what happened. It was a 4 o'clock game, and it collided with commuter traffic, and there's too many cars and not enough roadway. So if we're going to license events during the week, we're going to see this. And that's a fact. I've never sat here and says I can fix the traffic. I can mitigate it to the best of our ability, but there's only so much you can do. And, I apologize to the residents, because we haven't seen Lakeview before, kind of back as a cut through. Obviously that must have prompted a ride, like Waze or one of them said, geez, you could save a little bit of time. So that backed up. And it was a 4 o'clock game. We have, how many concerts coming up this year? What are on Thursdays and Fridays? Fridays, we get a little lucky in the summer, people are away on vacation, gives us a little breathing room. Hopefully, our, concerts are, say your main show goes on at 9, the act before goes on at 7. If they got a pre-opening, and if they have 2 openers, then they get 5. So we're opening our lots at 12 or 1 o'clock for a 9 o'clock show. Soccer match is 90 minutes long. So,
By the time some of the people were getting there.
7,000 people were not in the stadium at kickoff.
Wow.
It did fill, and they were all in there shortly after that.
That's a lot.
So we did monitor the parking lots, P11. We just, the cars were just slow going in. They all were looking at the stadium. They all wanted to take a right. They wanted to park on the stadium side. We actually got the state police. They were out there. We actually had to put cars across the road and just force them to the other side. But they were just slow and not familiar. They weren't Pats fans, I can tell you that.
So, well, don't get me started on Pats fans. Every year at the beginning of the year, it seems like the traffic, it's like first time we've done it, and then the second game is all fine, so I never can figure that out. But, so this actually wasn't a true test of an international game, because a lot of these people were all, they were from this area. That's why we had so much driving
Yes.
side of it. We didn't have a lot of buses. We didn't have a lot of, the trains, my understanding, were almost.
So we had 4 trains, and that was a great takeaway. All 4 ran on time, but only 2 were 3/4 filled.
Right.
So on the mobility plan that's hopefully rolling out for World Cup, we're hoping to run, they're saying 20,000. We'll measure that as we go, as we see the tickets come in, but there will be a substantial number. The mobility plan and Yankee Bus, that contract has been signed. That was a presentation today. So now all the hotels are able to sign people up and build a package where you stay in the hotel, you jump in the bus, and we're working all the plaque cards so we can express them into the parking lots. So that will substantially decrease the amount of cars. Hopefully something to what we saw for Army Navy. And it'll push it 2 hours. 6 o'clock is better than 4 o'clock on some of the earlier games. The first one, of course, is 9 o'clock, so hopefully there's no conflict with the Saturday game.
Well, Chief, we do have a 4 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, a 4:30, and a 4.
Then I stand corrected. I looked at the schedule quickly.
I know.
All right, so
6 out of 7 is prime time.
strike that. Strike that.
Part of the problem also is for the first couple games, school's still in play. So one of the other issues you ran into, obviously, was the buses trying to get around town. Needless to say, many of them were late. Parents were a little upset about that, but I do believe the schools did warn of that happening in advance, so it wasn't.
And we do have a half day for the, I already went to the school committee for the World Cup to ask for the half day, so that doesn't happen. That was already done in advance.
Yeah. All right. So, again, I think if any kind of mass transit actually does work, that will help.
It will.
My only concern, I will say, is that the way they're setting up the parking, with the only general parking being across the street with 5,000 cars, I do realize there's going to be a lot of parking on the stadium side, but those are VIPs and others. So, little concern on how that, if there were a flow of real cars, then you might have a traffic jam on Route 1 that goes forever. But
Thanks, Bill, for that. I appreciate it. So I think I think we're losing about 1,700 spots for the perimeter fence.
okay.
So that's based on the most recent, there's been a lot of articles about parking, so we're losing 1,700 spots and they've 26,000? 26,000. So.
But aren't they using a lot of the parking lot too for tented areas and stuff like that? So
So FIFA's gonna get 5,500 spots.
right.
So they're gonna get that, and then we're gonna have 7,000 for general. And then we have over 3,200 just for host city buses and stuff like that. So if we start laying on 100, I think they're looking at a minimum 210 buses. That's the hope.
Okay.
That's substantial breathing room.
Yeah.
And then we also have 2,400 spots that are for Patriot Place that more than likely will come into play based on people not being at the stores. They'll be able to absorb those as well. So they're gonna have, plus we have 5,500 satellite lots. And I will say the satellite lots, at least what we saw, did very well because people just wanted to park. So before they even got to the stadium, they were just stopping in the middle of the highway, trying to get into a lot. And we had so much traffic from heading 95 south. People driving past the stadium who are commuters, which you usually don't see that. You usually say, why would you ever drive on Route 1 unless you had to? So,
Is there any way, and I'm sure the answer is no, but is there any way with Waze and Google Maps and all those to notify them of the issues that they're mapping? They've got to be able to control how they dump people into an area like this.
so I would like to say that law enforcement would have the ability to just insert itself, but that's exactly how the platform doesn't want to work. They really want it to be user-directed. So when users see things, they actively notify drivers. So if you were to put in say you just want, you want to put blocked Lakeview, someone drives by and sees that it's not blocked, then when enough people say it's not blocked, they lift it. It pulls, so it's interactive. That's the whole goal.
Yeah, so I was on the road coming home from Children's Hospital. My son had an appointment at noon, and it's funny, I thought in the morning, I'm like, I wonder if I'll be affected at all coming or going. So what I will tell you is that I was coming back this way between 1:30 and 2 o'clock. So sometimes I go the Jamaica way, and then I decide to stay on Route 1 instead of getting on 128. And then as soon as I kind of got around the corner, I was like, oh, bad mistake, right? So I turned around by Lambert's and said, I'm going to go back on 128 and just like, go, not to get on 90, well, I didn't know if I'd get on 95, but on 95 was backed up onto 128 at 2 o'clock. So there's nothing you could even
I can't do anything
possibly
about
done. There's nothing you could have done.
So if you're coming home today, Stephanie, 95 is backed up every
Yeah.
single day.
Yep.
So let's add 63,000
I don't think at 2
people.
o'clock, but then you throw people at 2, now you throw people coming, no buses, like all those things that you mentioned. And the funny thing is, so I said to myself, I'm going to stay on 128. Like I know I went to 138 because I grew up in Stoughton, so I was like, oh, back all the way. I didn't even come anywhere. I went like through the back of Sharon and to come into Summerfield. I went all the way through the back and back around, no problems. Now, I guess I want people to know that you can do whatever you can try to do for getting them to be in the area. So I get home, no problem. And I go to leave for work at about 3:15. And as I'm leaving to go out onto Cohasset Street, I'm like, where are all these cars coming from? So as I come up to Cohasset, there's 10 cars lined up, going left, going right. And I'm saying to myself, where are all these people from? And then I thought, I'm like, it's probably people from Mansfield, like everyone's trying to
Get home.
around.
They're
home,
commuters at 3:30.
right? So, I mean, what can you do? Like, you know how far I am away from that area, is away from the stadium. So what can you do? You can't put policemen like everywhere in the town to try to divert people from going through the neighborhoods. I mean, it's not even about sticking up for you guys. It's about, I think, and I know probably the residents aren't going to be happy when I say this, but we've got 7 events, and at this point, we're into it. And like you said, the safety is number one, and I think at this point, we can only do our best, but I just don't know what else you guys can do about the traffic. You just can't.
I just think the one thing that we have to be sure of, and even if we have to pay people to be there sooner, is we just need to make sure all the posts, like Beach Street, Chestnut Street, Cross Street, all those are done early to make sure the cars, because that's exactly what Waze is going to want to do. as far as the Uber drivers and the Lyft drivers, is going to want to try to push them in that back area, which they've done before. So we need to make sure that those are closed down.
Yeah, so our roll call was at 12 o'clock for our traffic posts. We go through all the assignments, cruiser assignments, so they were out there by 12:20, but we saw people
Already
hitting
there.
those roads. We had people on paper roads. So I don't know if they do an update on we had people trying to drive down Ashcroft Lane, Revolution Way. Like their GPS was sending them down that was actually a public way, and they were showing it on their phones. So I don't know if these maps just update, and I'm not sure where they're pulling it from, but they were finding every road possible to try to drive on.
I think we'll just set somebody up to report into Waze and those guys that there's an accident on every one of those streets, and that way maybe we'll redirect.
So you're obviously, doing the best you can, and you're doing a phenomenal job. I think we have a bigger, we have to look at sort of the bigger picture of what's going on in the town of Foxborough. And that's just not to you, Chief, to all of us. And that bigger picture is 25 years ago, we had, I don't know when they switched from 12 to 16 games and a couple of token concerts. And you said to yourself as a citizen, yeah, I can deal with it for 12 games. I can deal with it for 3 or 4 concerts. Was it you that gave us there's 70 events?
Paige did.
Paige did. I'm sorry, Paige.
Katie did all the work.
Katie.
And Lee. Katie and Lee.
70 events.
Plus.
That's pushing our community to the brink.
Yeah.
And I think we as a board have to start thinking real seriously of when these events are and how they're now going to affect our community. And this is one of them. 6 out of the 7 games are during the week and during commuting hours. We already know there's going to be, Notre Dame Army on Halloween. That affects our community. And we have to start thinking long and hard when we see these events coming up. Do we really want them? And I think that's something we as a board have to start thinking about as we're coming to a new renewal season.
Yeah.
And it's asking way too much of our community now. I mean, when it takes a poor senior citizen 30 minutes to get from Stop and Shop to Cross Street, that's too much. Let alone our kids and our buses and, all the other things. I mean, and, talking about side roads, I went for a walk, and there were actually people coming down Water Street to Granite Street, and I knew they were going to the World Cup because they all had their, World Cup jerseys on, and they're
Probably
all...
Brazil, because it was about 80%.
It was probably Brazil, yeah, right. Yeah, that was yellow and green or something, yellow and blue. And they're all looking at their phone as they're driving down, Water to Granite. So, just my thought to the board.
I think with that, Doc, and I think we've skirted around it, what's the number? Is 70 too many? It seems like it might be. So where is that number, and how are we going to be comfortable with that?
Not only where is the number, is where are those dates?
True.
Yeah, dates and time.
Where are the dates and
I think are
times?
the
But the number of events,
No,
how many can we
'cause-
handle?
Because, I mean,
Well, and
16
Chief,
football games.
you have to have a breaking point too, because
Yes.
there's going to be
Yeah.
a point in which you're not going to be able to get officers after a certain point too. I mean,
Yeah, I think we have 24 sold-out events
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah,
And then all the other events.
when
on
we
top
had
of it.
16 football games and 15 of them were on a Sunday at 1 o'clock, which was good.
yeah.
It's all different now.
Yeah, so I do want to say though, even with the traffic, emergency vehicles can and did get to any call that needed to get, but it was bad. There was no way to put, you couldn't put them anywhere. It wasn't like a lack of, geez, why didn't we open this road up? We could have just fixed the problem. Every road was crushed, and 140s just tricking one car at a time.
Yeah.
Did you see this might happen? Did you suspect this might happen, like in your...
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
Did.
Like, I can't shut Mechanic Street down.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't shut, the exit ramp down. I can't shut 140 down. Rentham can't shut 115 down in Norfolk. So those roads get crushed.
So this was no surprise.
No, we just, the goal.
For everybody else,
The
yeah.
messaging is, Route 1 is your way in, but we also had the commuters, people trying to get home. They got kids, they gotta get to dinner, they have responsibilities.
People going to Rhode
Daycare.
Island. Yeah,
I mean, like,
the commuters to Rhode Island, they
It's-
have to go through it, so.
and if 95 was, built for this, like if we had actually added a lane or two in the last 50 years, that traffic flowing south should have been able to flow. It doesn't flow. Doesn't flow at all. So,
Amy?
Yeah, the other stuff that I saw wasn't necessarily traffic related, but like actual behavior of some of the people in the traffic, using people's yards as bathrooms and things like that. And I think I heard something about a community guide coming out, like where people can call, like is there going to be like a number?
You were working on that, but again, in that instance,
Well,
there's
do they
probably
call the
not much we
police?
could.
I mean,
yeah, call the police. If there's something happening, call us. We have our roving patrols out there.
Putting it on Facebook isn't effective, and it's not going to fix the problem.
Right.
What's going to fix the problem is to take action and not talk about it. So if you see something like that, call the police department. We don't need to talk about it on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, we had 1 or 2 incidents with
Right.
thousands of people.
I'm just saying, like.
Yep. I don't know,
Yes, and
maybe
for the residents, we
2
will
large
be-
extra coffees
We
and
have
stuck in 3 hours of
people-
traffic. I don't.
We have police officers that are assigned to our town.
Yep.
Yeah.
And not to the event.
Correct.
So, use the resources that you have.
And that's a good point, Amy. So we are going to be having a community resource guide, and it'll probably be, we'll maybe have some paper, Maura and I were just speaking about it today, have some paper copies, if possible, for town hall and community center, so people can grab them, but also the website, so that if you have an issue with X, you can call so-and-so. If it's another one, you can call the Board of Health. So we're building that now to try to get the word out. And I know everybody's anxious for that. We do still have a little time, so we are working on that, so there will be that. And I think the other key takeaway, the things we're hearing a lot about, is what Chief Grace just referenced, is there are a lot more than 5,000 parking spaces. Everyone's sort of saying, I can't believe there's only 5,000. It's sort of 5,000 general parking spaces on the stadium property. But as you mentioned, there's the satellite lots, and we just looked at the site plans today. There are lots of parking lots being used, like say for buses, for VIPs, for hospitality packages. So folks who are buying tickets, they can actually use, get a ticket and buy it with their ticket, with their parking. So there is much more than 5,000 parking spaces. There are more than 5,000 parking spaces. It's just that's the sort of general population parking that's sort of open to most.
And that's
But-
just on stadium side.
Correct.
So, because it's very deceiving. And, you could see it, even was, the news was televising it. Oh, only 5,000 spots. And matter of fact, I think.
But the 5,000 are across the street.
No, 5,000 on
No,
stadium side.
5,000 on stadium
Those
side.
if you want to, it's all part of the package, whether you're in the clubs.
Yeah, but matter of fact, I think right after we saw it, I think I asked you, Chief, I think you were leaving the meeting, and I said, are they really only have 5,000 spots? But it was the way it was being reported, and then you said, Steph, that's just on stadium side, and there's going to be lots of VIP parking, but that's for the general public is 5,000. And then everything that's across the street is business as usual.
Well, no, that's got other, they have a lot of,
Some might be
they
for
have a
buses
lot
and different
reserved
stuff.
for, they have a lot, but, and again, we're not saying that there's ample parking. Parking may be a problem, so take the train.
Yeah, take.
But I just wanted to make that clear, that it's not just 5,000 for the whole 63,000 stadium people. People have different allocations of tickets and parking packages, so.
Well, for the actual World Cup games, of course, we know there are going to be some local people going to the games, but, what we're hearing from people coming from around the world to support their team, a lot of, we only have so many hotels in Foxborough, almost nothing. So if they're finding their way into Boston or Providence, and unless they're renting a car, hopefully they'll listen and use the train.
Or the buses, they're having bus packages from
Buses
hotels.
or the train. So I don't think I'm not saying there's going to be no traffic, but I think this game, I mean, I don't know, did people fly in from France or for Brazil from this game? I think we have a lot of Brazilian, local people from Brazil, so I don't know if.
This was a domestic, this was local.
Yeah.
This is local people.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think a lot of that with the train and buses, like you said, it should be better than what it was last Thursday.
I'm going to say it should be.
The
the last thing, it should be.
Yeah.
If they 200 buses is 10,000 people, just like that.
Yeah.
And those buses down out of Providence, there's no Providence train now, so they're all organizing their fan marches down there, and they're building all their mobility plans to bring the buses up here. So and all the hotels in Boston are building all those packages. That was just released today. I think the mobility plan's a little behind with the host committee, so it should be out in the next week or two. So I think we're in a good spot. We have enough parking spots. We just did 63,000, we had enough parking spots. So we didn't run out of parking.
It was the way that was reported. Everything was, you just kept hearing 5,000
Well,
spots.
it's really messaging by
Yeah.
the host committee and the mobility plan, what they're putting out there. They got to get it out there, and they got to tell people what you have and don't have.
Okay.
But I do recommend that folks try to work from home, not commute. I mean, honestly, there will be messaging coming from Mass DOT on that. It's much like when the tunnels were closed and there was other work being done. It is a good time, if you have a vacation home or you want to go away, or, you don't want to commute and move around much, I would maybe not go to Patriot Place or try not to go to the grocery store, because it could be messy still, despite all the best plans.
Right.
I agree.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
You want to stay here?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'm not going to make the same mistake with that chair.
What, it's not,
It's a little chair.
Oh, it's like a Smurf chair.
Yep.
So I guess we're here to congratulate Lieutenant Burns on his graduation from the FBI National Academy, which happened last week. And he was back to work like a day and a half later.
On the ride home.
He was never off from work, let's be real.
So before I let you explain your experience down there, I just want to acknowledge that the FBI National Academy is one of the premier executive leadership law enforcement opportunities for a law enforcement officer. The requirements are very strict between age, education, leadership, and character. The application process is even tougher. There are only so many designated spots for all of New England, which includes Maine, Vermont, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. And the application process is very competitive. So Adam put his application in after talking with me, because the most important thing you can, for an agency and as a head of an agency, is to plan for the future and not wonder what's going to happen next, is building the people below you to be the leaders of a department in the future. So Adam met all of those metrics, obviously his military career, his leadership career here within the agency, and everything he touches, he's just phenomenal. So he met all of the benchmarks, and he was accepted, and off he went for the last 3 months. Lucky him. I'll let you talk about like the curriculum and the day-to-day activities, because it's not easy and it's definitely not a vacation.
Yeah, no, first of all, it was kind of a nice time to get away for 10 weeks. I got to watch you guys on the internet and see what I was missing. And certainly when I scheduled it, I didn't think we were going to have home playoff games either. So we had to work around that. But it was one of those situations where in our professional careers, you don't typically get a 10-week time where you can relatively separate from work and focus on, your professional development and education and getting that type of a course done and really the networking and everything else. I mean, we have 25 different countries that graduated with us, to include people all over the United States. So a lot of it was not only were you learning in the classroom, but it was a lot of classroom discussion. We are really kind of seeing what other agencies throughout the country and around the world are doing in different situations, to include, world events that are happening now. And it's really that networking, a lot of opportunities for presentations by the students. So you're really, really learning from different things that they've been through, some good, some bad. You know, sometimes you realize that we're doing really well. In other places, you see it and you say, wow, we can really, you know, improve in those areas. So 10 weeks of classroom, 10 weeks of physical training, which was every day led by professional physical trainers. They just opened up a brand new high-performance gym there that rivals any Division I NFL type facility, which was great. About halfway through our class, we were able to open that new gym, and so it was really just that opportunity. And it's really the networking and being, like I said, being able to kind of separate a little bit. I was still staying up with what was going on.
I think I did a good
with
job.
World Cup.
I didn't bother you
Yeah,
too
he was
much.
pretty good. He was pretty good. But just obviously we're leading up to World Cup and everything that's going on here. It was, I couldn't totally break free, but it was enough that I could still know what was going on, but be able to separate and really focus on the education. It was an unbelievable experience, and I thank the deputy who obviously went through the program before, 5 or 6 years ago, and then the chief support to get me down there, the town manager, and all you guys. So I really do, like I said, it was an opportunity of a lifetime for me and for my career. So a sincere thank you to all of you for that.
Actually, I'd like Amy, she's going to read a proclamation for you that we've put together.
Town of Foxborough, a proclamation. Whereas Lieutenant Adam Burns of the Foxborough Police Department has demonstrated exceptional dedication to law enforcement and public service, and whereas on March 18th, 2026, Lieutenant Burns graduated from the prestigious FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia, as a member of the 297th session, completing 10 weeks of advanced training alongside law enforcement leaders from across the United States and around the world. And whereas the FBI National Academy, conducted in partnership with the University of Virginia, provides rigorous academic instruction and professional development in leadership management, and physical fitness. And whereas during his time at the Academy, Lieutenant Burns focused his studies on leadership and management and successfully completed the renowned 6.1-mile Yellow Brick Road obstacle course. And whereas his achievement reflects a strong commitment to excellence, professional growth, and the continued advancement of policing practices for the benefit of the Foxborough community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that we recognized and commend Lieutenant Adam Burns for his outstanding accomplishment and commend his dedication to serving with integrity, professionalism, and distinction. This proclamation, given under the seal of the Town of Foxborough on this 31st day of March 2026, signed by the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we gotta do a photo.
Congratulations. Here you go. Thank you.
I'm gonna want to do a photo op.
Oh, all right, they want a quick picture.
Photo op, all right.
Okay.
You want me in it? Yeah, I got it.
You did a good job. You could have done it.
I wanted to hit Bill.
Somebody has to come on over here and balance out.
Oops, sorry. Good. Everybody's there. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Congratulations, Adam. Welcome back. Oh, I love this heater. I didn't need a sweatshirt today.
Did you bring that for yourself? I didn't even, I always put around this one.
I brought it from home.
Did you really? Oh, that's
No, I
hilarious.
did not.
Okay.
All right. Next up is the annual town meeting warrant article number 19. How we doing?
Good evening. Marla Farrar, 33 Ridge Road. I'm the chairman of the advisory committee, and I want to explain, provide the background in this Article 19. Suggested change the advisory committee is recommending that we hope will be approved at the town meeting. The current bylaw says that the advisory committee shall consist of 15 members, and the quorum requirement is based on the number of members is a 50% plus one. So we need to have 8 people to have a meeting or conduct any business. And the change that we're recommending just simply reduces the number of the advisory committee from 15 down to 11. As you guys know, the advisory committee is appointed by the town moderator and reports to the town moderator. At present, we have 10 members that are appointed. But in practice, one member hasn't attended a meeting this year, so in practice, we have 9. So with a quorum of 8, we can't, if 2 people can't make a meeting, we're not at the quorum, we can't have a meeting, we can't vote. And so that, and if you look at historically, it's literally 20 years ago is when there were a full 15 members appointed. And in the last 10 years, of recent memory, it's really only been about 10 or 11 folks that have actually been appointed. And so the rationale here is let's reduce the number to 11, which would bring the quorum down to 7, and it can be more effective.
There's some other changes that you've put in there, though, as well, isn't there, for additional terms?
No, the bylaw said that 3 members are appointed for a term of a year. Consists of a year. If you serve more than 3 years, there has to be a year gap before you could be appointed again as an advisory committee member. And in reality, we thought that should always be 3 terms before you could you had to leave the committee. So another change is that the number of consecutive terms that a particular member could serve would be 9 years, three terms, as opposed to if you're on one term, the term that's appointed is 3 years.
Right.
I had a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So now, when it originally said 15, if you say you only had 9, you still have to use the quorum number from 15?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
because that's what you're supposed to have as a.
Okay.
So the fact that you didn't fill it is not,
Yeah.
is
Okay.
the problem.
Okay. Well, because, so I spent 3 years on, and I don't ever remember it. Maybe we just had everybody showing up. I don't know. I don't ever remember. We most certainly didn't
I think
have
it was done
15.
differently. Town
Didn't
council
have-
came and did the training, and that kind of brought to light the
Oh, okay.
the requirement.
Yeah. So I guess the only, well, I wouldn't even call it a problem, maybe just thought for myself, is that I did talk to Frank today, obviously, Frank Spillane. He appoints the members, and so I asked him, I said, so, what's your thoughts here? He's not supporting the article. Not that he would never support it. I think some of the wording, he just wanted to have a little more time to really look at the wording. Now, am I correct? Has Frank?
He'd like to spend more time doing research because he thinks there's potentially other changes or broader changes that should be made.
Yeah,
And,
well, he told me he was reaching out to some different other towns, and I mean, I don't know I don't know how many years Frank has been appointing. I mean, for
since
me,
his father
I
passed,
only know of like his dad was before him.
Yeah.
So, I don't, I kind of feel like if he's not quite comfortable with these changes yet, just because he's been doing it for a long time, and I'm not saying he's right or wrong, I think basically what he said to me is this could be exactly what we end up with, but he just wanted to do a little more research on what other towns were doing, and he was in the process of doing that, so.
If I may defend Marlo, who's tried to hold this thing together.
Sure.
Is that means it waits till another town meeting and another whole AdCom process. And this, having attended a lot of the meetings, this committee has struggled greatly with no quorum.
I was just going to ask, has there been times that you haven't been able to take votes because
Yes.
you haven't been able to
Most
have a
nights,
quorum?
honestly.
Okay,
Yeah, in this past year, a couple
has
of
been
meetings,
very-
we didn't have a quorum.
got it.
And other times, there's been, pressure to say, look, if you can't come, we're not going to have a quorum. So even though you don't feel well, please try to get here.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to Frank today and a number of times. He actually came to our advisory committee last Wednesday to speak to this. And what he's said at the meeting and has told me is that he'd prefer to wait because he'd like to take a broader view and do more research, but that he's not opposed, he's not going to object or oppose it. He would just like to see us wait. But the members of the committee, feel strongly like this is a real issue, and we're just reducing it from 15 to 11. And in practice, we haven't had 15 in 20 years, so this allows us to be effective.
And then,
You have worked with town council, so this has been vetted by town council. So it's,
I think my concern, though, is I am concerned about having somebody sit on this for 9 years. The point of the advisory committee previously always was kind of a stepping stone for, I know you're not getting the people, but a stepping stone for people to, get acquainted with the town, understand how it works and operates. I will say I think 3 years is too short, because by the second year, you're just about feeling comfortable, and now you're in the third year and you're going to be off, shortly. So I would be more comfortable if it was for 6 years rather than 9 years, just because I think you do need to get new people involved, or try to get new people involved on a regular basis. And if the same group stays on for 9 years, it's like there won't be any new talent.
But if you're a member, you have to be, when your term is up, you get reappointed. So it's the moderator's discretion to, it's not an automatic, you stay till you want to leave. You have to get formally appointed at when your term is up.
Yeah, I agree. I think, so, but I guess Frank could do whatever he wanted to do. He cannot reappoint you, I guess. If
He's
you
done that in the past.
But if you're, if you're doing a good job, what I would say is definitely, did the original one say 3 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because what I will say, obviously, it's not a prerequisite to sit on this board to go through advisory committee, but I will tell you, what I learned in advisory committee did prepare me to be here, and especially the budget, because I think going into my third year is really when I started to understand the budget a little bit. It's not very easy. I don't know. Is that one of the things? Frank's words to me was that he wasn't going to support it, but
He told me the same thing, to be honest with you.
yeah, but is it, do you think, we most certainly, we almost never had a quorum, but it's a different group of people, so I feel for you guys. I don't know if, I could bite a little bit on the, on the number, because I don't know how easy it is to get 15 people to volunteer their time now. We never had 15, back when I was on, but I don't know.
Which was how long ago?
The 6 years on here, so 7 years ago. I'm in my 6th year here, so we never had 15. That is a high number.
But that's not an advisory committee issue, that's an appointing issue, that's the moderator.
Yeah, I tried to get on it and they wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah, see, that's not,
I don't know that.
he's trying to,
I can understand.
Oh, okay.
he's trying to backfill something that,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
it's the moderator's job
Okay.
to fill the 15 if he wants
Yeah.
to fill the 15.
I-
Now, he's sitting
Yeah.
there saying, we've never had 15,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
need a quorum, we've got, our legal counsel just retaught
Yeah.
us, you might
Yeah.
not have known
Yeah.
how important the quorum was when you were on it.
Right.
Well,
So-
it wasn't that I didn't understand. I knew we needed a quorum. I guess we always had a quorum.
Could be.
But we most certainly didn't have 15 people. But
I I understand as a chairman,
There was previously an
Yeah.
interpretation that the quorum was based on how many that
How
were
many were in
actually
attendance, yeah.
placed on the
Seated.
committee.
Appointed, yeah.
right, which is now.
That's what I thought, that's what I
Which is
thought.
not truly the.
Yes.
So is there a
So-
way for us to put this forward and maybe leave the changing as far as the terms out, but allow them to be able to have 11 on the committee so that they can vote moving forward?
Well, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think the only real changes they're making are the 15 to 11 and the 3 years to 9 years.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is leave the 3-year piece off, if there's more discussion to be had about that, but I want them to be able to vote at their meetings.
But I understand where he's coming from with all of us, 3 years and then a year off, you're only finally realizing, as we all know, what the budget's all about.
Sure.
Sorry, Marie, that took me 2.5, 3 years to figure it out. That having a few terms under your belt, you become a better advisory committee in your 4th to 6th and maybe 6th to 9th year.
So the warrant doesn't close until you vote that it's closed, which I think is at your next meeting. So we can revise this language a little further to make that change and reduce it from 3 consecutive terms to 2 potentially. And,
I think I could support that.
I could see either, but 2 terms, sure.
Yeah.
So we'll make that change.
For the shortest little change, this has gotten the most, it's been through so many machinations, it's crazy.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No,
No, it's good, thank you.
thank you.
All right. Town manager.
Recommended budget.
Yes, so I have good news about the budget. The general fund is able to be decreased by about 367,000. There were some tweaks that did have to, there were a few increases, but they were more than offset by the decreases. You do have, in your community, you should have a memo, but basically, let's see, we had a decrease by 367,641. The increase was from central maintenance of 31,000 for a part-time employee shared with the schools, and upgraded phone services for the joint public safety building. And while that looks troublesome, we actually saved hundreds of thousands in not having to do a capital project for a whole new phone system. We were able to get into it for just slightly more than we pay monthly, but the whole process of replacing the phone system was done without a capital cost, so that was great. We had to make some stipend adjustments and some increase for risk management for, let's see, drone coverage and deductibles for fire vehicles. So, but the bottom line is that we are able to show a decrease of 367,000. The total town budget, including enterprise funds, is now $106,442,430, which represents a 4.01 increase. The general fund is reflecting a 3.8 increase, which is down from the preliminary budget, which was at 4.37 and 4.2 for the general fund. So we were able to see the savings, which I didn't call out, were beneficial. Let's see, SEMREC came in at $30,000 less than we had estimated, which we thank the team for that. We did put a little pressure there. Southeastern Regional School District came in at 96,000 lower. And the biggest one is our group insurance came in at 6.82%, which represented a $315,000 decrease over what we had budgeted. So again, we had a couple increases, but all in all, we were able to realize a $367,000 decrease. So
Weren't we thinking like 14% for the insurance? It was a
Well, it was
high
14
number.
last year. We had budgeted at 10, I think. We ended up at 10 this year, which was risky. I was like, Marie, I don't know, because they were kind of warning us 12. But yeah, we were very happy with 6.82, which is sad because when you look at old trends, that would have been catastrophic. But it's a sign of the times, so we are happy to do that. So we are looking for the board to discuss and approve this budget as presented As I said, it is in community if you want to look at the finer details. Marie, did I miss anything?
Is there any comments or questions?
No,
No, I'm good.
No, fine.
Okay, motion to approve the proposed town manager budget for FY '27.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none?
Thank you, finance team.
Strategic plan?
Yeah, so the strategic plan, I wanted to get this on the agenda because I always provide updates, but just so folks know, the surveys, my favorite thing to say over and over, and hopefully this is the last time I have to say it, statistically significant surveys are done. And now the open surveys are there. So Maura will be posting a link, and stay tuned for social media posts, and they'll be on the website. So we are hoping that all residents will fill out this survey. I think I got some numbers here. Actually, it's on here. Let's see. 3. Okay. And so we are having listening sessions. Those are being held on April 14th at 10:15 a.m. in the community center, April 14th at 3 p.m. at the Boyden Library. My understanding is the flyer for that doesn't mention Boyden Library. I will pass that on, but if you see one for the afternoon of April 14th, that is at the library. April 14th at 7 p.m. at the select board meeting, the consultants will be with us, and then April 15th at noon at the community center, April 15th at 6 p.m. the community center. And we really do hope that residents will attend. And one of the things I would ask you each to invite, 3 to 5 members of the public, of the community, to ask them to come, let them know how important it is that their input. We really are looking to hear from folks that, from all walks of life that are invested in this community. And the other thing that I wanted to talk to you all about is the interview process. We did request names, and we have too many at this point. And when I say that, it's like we have a lot, but then we don't have enough. Maybe like you just mentioned, someone from the craft group. I know that's someone that the consultants are recommending, major businesses. So it might be that we want someone from the craft group to speak to them, maybe even Schneider to speak to them. And so I do have, a list of folks here. There's also a list on community. Right now, my concern is a lot of the folks here are, and I added a couple too, are like, I don't want to say townies, but, they might all have the same messaging. So I'm trying to think if we could think a little bit outside the box, make sure we get the townies, get the folks that they're very important, and we don't want to exclude them, but we also want to hear maybe from some younger folks, maybe, those in their 20s.
Yeah, I tried to pick like one from sort of each age category. I took somebody that's like my kid's age, and then that's kind of how I came up with who I sent in.
That's great, yeah. So I would just ask that you take a look at the list, and I really want this board, you all know the people better than I do. This is your community, this is your plan. So I want to make sure you have a real investment in this process and the voices that go into it. And this isn't the only time that these folks will have a chance. Again, come to listening sessions. We're going to have a table at Founders Day. So there will be, lots of opportunities for outreach, but this interview process will actually be with the consultants. They will have questions and a discussion they're going to actually speak to each of the 5 of you, and then other community members, and that's just a little more in depth than you're able to do when you're in a larger group. So if you haven't gotten me a name, I really do owe them. They need to start the interview process soon. So if you could, let me know from this list and sort of feedback, knowing that we can't do everybody and knowing we're missing a few. I'm going to add a couple more to here that were mentioned tonight. So we're close to 20. There's 20 people we need, but I feel like there's still some gaps. So that's my pep talk.
Okay.
Do you want me to officially send you the name that I mentioned to you earlier?
No, you don't need to say. I have that written down.
Okay, perfect.
No. I don't know if we want to talk about it. I mean, I don't want to call out folks' names. I don't really want to do that. So that's why it's hard. I'm sort of tiptoeing around it, but I would challenge you all to just think a little deeper. I mean, Doc, you know a lot of people in the community. Think again of the broad walks of life, the folks we don't necessarily hear from. You know, I don't know that we have a lot of parents here with young children. You know, I don't know that we have 20-year-olds. So, just it's not our usual suspects. Because we'll get plenty of them, and you all are kind of usual suspects. So just trying to find a way to reach others. And if you could do it tomorrow, that'd be great.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right, now let me get to my town manager's update. This is all me tonight. I know the first topic was trains. We are having some complaints about trains here in town. And let me try to find my file. For some reason, I don't have it. We've been having complaints about the trains. I am working with Mass DOT and the MBTA to try to figure out what to do about trains. Doc, I think you were involved a couple years ago when we had this train problem.
Just if I could.
Sure.
Not MBTA. This is an entirely different.
Sorry. This is over on County Street, behind County Street. CSX is idling trains for like up to 2 to 4 days, 24/7. You know, they're now noisy, they're ugly. There's been a lot of train yard activity. It's kind of extending up the roadway again. So there are definitely complaints. We've been working. I contacted the town of Mansfield. They gave me some names. I did email folks from Mass DOT. I have not heard back. So I think I would just say to the residents, what I've been telling folks is to keep a log, and, it's going to take a while to get anybody's attention. It's going to take time to, trains and railroads actually have a lot of vested rights. They kind of come taxes and trains, and it's people, the trains were there long before the people were, so that's our challenge. It's hard to get an audience, but we did get some success a couple years ago. We can try again, but it isn't easy. And then the other thing that I've had a couple people request is, again, back to quiet zones. And I think I wanted to talk to this board to find out, I don't think quiet zones are really feasible. What that is when the train horns are blown, but what you have to do is a major study documenting it. You have to have gates and all sorts of safety things. The town assumes all liability for anything that happens, and it could cost, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. We have numerous crossings, so it would be extremely involved. And I know in years past, this board has sort of said, that's not an avenue we're going down, and I think I just wanted to bring to light that we are having more requests for quiet zones, and just see if this board had any thoughts on whether that's something we want to pursue, or I wouldn't recommend it.
Am I wrong, though? I thought all of the crossings had the gates and stuff, no?
No, I think only 5 out of the 7 have the gates. But when we discussed this before, that was before a lot of the gates were upgraded.
Right.
So we do have a few of the gates that would qualify under the safety, but the cost of the studies and the town having the responsibility of liability really was a game changer when we looked at it back 8 years ago, where it was just as bad, if not worse of a problem. And we really had a lot of help from both our rep and Senator Paul and Jay at the time, just bumping their heads up against the wall to try to get someone to listen. But as Paige said, they are an autonomous group that just doesn't care about anything. And they have the right. It's federal. It's
there's nothing we can really do.
It's sad. I mean, at one point, even I think it was early in Mike Kelleher's chiefdom, that they were crossing the street. And if there was an emergency, they would have had to go like 8 miles around, and they didn't care. Just didn't care.
To speak to the gates, I actually drove down Spring Street and Elm Street today, and they're actually installing them right now.
No way.
On those two streets that they just put on Elm Street, right near the highway department. They have like the foundations for them, and they're lying there on the side of the road, so I'm assuming they're installing them, and I saw the same thing on Spring Street as well.
So then, at that point, if they did cover them all, would it be not simply, but would it just be a measure of requesting that they don't blare the horns?
I think we'd have to do a study, and do we know if these gates, are they all also pedestrian gates?
Yes, well, the ones that are up now are.
Okay,
I don't know
that's
about.
good.
They're lying on the ground.
Yeah, the one on
I don't
Mechanic
know.
Street is, the one on Cocasset
include
Street
them,
also have the pedestrian.
We'd probably have to get a consultant in and evaluate the situation for us.
We just
you know.
like maybe ask them like what the plan is for what's happening right now.
Well, that's funny because,
You didn't even know it was happening.
you know, I was in one meeting where they told us the trains would be going, you know, they were putting bungalows in before World Cup to get ready for the trains to go 60 miles an hour through town. And then I was in another meeting, you know, 2 days later with a different group from MassDOT where they said, oh, we know nothing about that. So I can ask.
Yeah, I
You know,
guess
I
it
think it
doesn't-
depends, and
Yeah.
I try to find out, but, you know, they're not, I did figure out they're not trying to make trains go through 60 miles, but that was one of my meetings where we were, Senator Feeney and I were absolutely panic-stricken by that news. But I don't think that's happening. I don't know if that's ultimately a goal for them. That you know, the gates going in is a concern in a way, because
Sorry.
I think they are trying to improve the speed through town for freight, not commuter rail. I mean, I've heard no word about, I know people have talked about Neponset and, you know, Uptown train station. I've heard no word of anything of that. That's not something we're pursuing. That's not something that's been discussed. Would we be told? Probably not, but TBD.
Interesting.
So I can ask, you know, Chris Gallagher or one of the transportation consultants, just sort of suss out what's involved. But I think we'd probably have to get a study going and then, you know, look at sort of the liability issue and whatnot.
But if they've put in the crossings, why would we have liability?
Well, here's the thing. It was before I was on the board, but I remember watching this discussion that you guys were having. When they talked about the liability, correct me if I'm wrong, but what if the gates don't go down? What if there's a malfunction and they don't go down?
Well,
And
then they
somebody
blare the
gets, somebody,
But they might not know that
They
they
might not
don't go
know in the
down.
dark.
yeah.
4 o'clock.
So I have
in the
a little fact sheet here.
Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah.
There was a discussion about
Yeah, so
that?
you have to, you know, identify crossings in corridor, then you have to conduct a risk analysis, you have to install required safety measures, and all crossings must have at a minimum flashing lights and gates, constant warning time detection, and power outage indicators. Then additional safety measures are often required, including 4-quadrant gates, raised medians, or even closure of certain crossings, that's a maybe. Then you have to coordinate with agencies, we have to coordinate with the railroad operator, the FRA, and state transportation agencies. Sometimes a diagnostic review team will evaluate each crossing. Then we have to issue formal notices, a notice of intent to allow for a 60-day comment period, then issue the notice of establishment, and then we have to be responsible for maintaining all safety infrastructure, ensure continued compliance with federal standards, and update crossing data as needed. And obviously, if anything goes wrong, it's our liability. So it's a financial burden, high upfront capital costs, ongoing maintenance that must be borne by the municipality. And the safety is that it does remove the train horn as an audible warning, so you really are relying on physical safety measures. And the municipality assumes responsibility for the installed safety measures and may face increased scrutiny in the event of an episode. So,
And us, when page
I
says,
don't see anything in our favor for that.
yeah.
No.
and think of how many, would you say 7 crossings?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we have
Times
7.
7.
And when Paige says like, you know, you can't, like, that the railroads are just like, you know, I don't, like God, right? They, I remember too, if you guys, everyone here was in town then, a lot of people having issues going over the tracks. Do you remember? And I think what came up was like, why can't we just repair?
Yep.
And we weren't even allowed to.
I remember that.
We weren't even allowed to touch the road.
Right.
And we had, it was like, people were having.
They were blowing out their
blowing out their tires.
Yeah.
And the town couldn't do anything. And then eventually, they, you know, they finally, like, one at a time. And I don't even know if they're all if they're all good. But I think now it's been so much time, I think some of them are starting to get a little again. But yeah, you couldn't even touch the pavement.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that answers that question.
Yep.
Okay, moving on back to the strategic plan. I do in my report have the numbers. So as of Friday, there were 147 paper random sample surveys, 241 online random sample surveys for a total of 388. We're just starting the open participation survey last week, and again, Maura will be putting out more information on that. The Polco, the company doing it for us, was, quote, this puts us in a very solid position as we move forward towards the end of data collection. So apparently those are good numbers he's feeling good about it, so TBD. Town meeting, we have our warrant review on April 27th at noon. It'll be on Foxboro Cable Access. Maura, again, will be starting to put out some notices about town meeting, which is May 11th at 7 p.m. at the high school. And as always, the election is the week prior on May 4th. World Cup, because we don't talk about that enough. The town did get the whole FEMA grant award. The town was awarded $5.03 million in the FIFA World Cup grant program. And the funding comes through the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security in coordination with FEMA as part of the $46 million that went out. I did learn during the audit meeting yesterday that for each federal grant we have, it costs the town $7,000 for a single audit because we have federal grants. So between this FEMA grant and the drone grant, it will cost the town $14,000 more dollars. I did ask Marie to make a note of that because, again, these are grants that we wouldn't be otherwise seeking if we weren't hosting World Cup. Last week, Chief Grace, Chief Kelleher, and I attended a press conference at the State Police Barracks with the governor. And then last week, we had the White House Task Force come to meet us. I know Chief Kelleher met with them, and then they came to visit my office on the 26th and offered their support. I was able to convey concerns about the funding. I said, while I acknowledge that the money ultimately isn't the town's, the paperwork and the processes will fall on us, and they said they will be expediting everything and make it as smooth as possible. I also brought up the concern about, if heaven forbid anything happens, and the costs that we would hope the federal government would step in, and they assured us that they would. Reminder about the short-term rentals. I know we talk about it. I know there's lots going on that right now. And last week I attended the Phoenix Theater press conference. That's the new movie theater that's moving into the former showcase at Patriot Place. It's going to be 14 screens. 4 of them will be upgraded auditoriums with 4K and Dolby Atmos, which I just learned about. Apparently it's really cool. Instead of like surround sound, you're actually like immersed in it. You'll feel it under, over. You're going to have heated reclining love seats in every auditorium. There'll be no premium surcharge for those seats. The movies will start on time with minimal or no trailers. Minimal trailers, no commercials, sorry. The planned opening is early summer, and they seek to hire about 100 people. And they did mention that if you could check out their social media, there's going to be a sweepstakes for free movie tickets for a year. So while I won't be doing that, and you probably guys shouldn't, the townspeople can absolutely do that, and stay tuned. For town licenses, we had the 2026 Horseshoe League. They're going to be playing across from the DPW building on Elm Street from April 13th to August 24th from 6:30 to 9:30. And then there's a Memorial Day ceremony on the Taunton Common on May 25th at noon after the parade, which will be hosted by Veterans Services. We're recognizing Paula Maloney for retiring after 16 years of a treasurer. Please come by the gala meeting room if you dealt with Paula from 2 to 4. There'll be a little bit of a open house. And then we have some jobs currently advertised: the apprentice mechanic, a water technician 1, tree and parks division laborer driver, and a council on aging substitute van driver. And that is my report.
Great. Are there any updates on the board side? Anybody have anything?
One just little minor comment that I did watch Governor Healy's little conference, and you look great up there, Paige, by the way, right behind her. Did not love hearing Boston Stadium in Foxborough.
Yeah.
Just as a side note,
Doesn't flow.
it doesn't flow. Should have been Foxborough Stadium.
Right.
Yes.
I attended the Vietnam Veterans recognition
Pinning.
pinning
Yeah.
and things on Saturday. It was pretty great, well attended. She was expecting about 70 people. It was full. It was a privilege to be there and to listen to some people's stories, and I'm glad I went. Michelle and Lauren, as always, did an amazing job. And yeah.
And actually, I'm sorry.
I'm all set. Thank you.
Before I did that, you reminded me, I don't know if anybody drove by the community center last week. It was overflowing. That was a joint hearing of the Senate and the House Ways and Means. Senator Feeney brought it out to the community, and I got there at 9:30, a half hour before it started, and I had to park in front of the dumpster. Our public safety did fabulous work. They were out there directing traffic. I know folks had to park on Carpenter, Garfield, all over, but it was probably at the most capacity we've ever seen, and we joked that every black SUV for the state of government was in that parking lot. And I think they went till 7 p.m. It started at 10, they went till 7 p.m. So, but we were thankful to have everybody out to Foxborough, and people really raved about the community center. And
Yeah, you and Mark did a great job representing the town. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
You watched, or were you there?
I did watch.
Yeah. Oh.
I'm that person.
Wow. I don't know about the rest of you.
Didn't even know what happened.
I was actually there. I was there for a little while, but I was surprised that there was people actually parked on, Main Street there, right in front of the building.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That was a bit much. But the good thing is we had the state fire marshal there, so we were okay.
Okay. Action items?
Sure. Motion to approve the Town of Foxborough Veteran Services Department use of public way application for the Memorial Day Parade on May 25th, 2026. Road closure for parade and ceremony, 8:30 a.m. to noon. Parade route from the Church of Emmanuel to proceed right onto Central Street to South Street and around the town common.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none.
Motion to approve a change of hours application for Better Food Foxborough LLC doing business as Citizens Crust located at 21 Patriot Place to serve alcohol starting at 10 a.m. on Sundays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to approve a change of hours application for 1 Patriot Place LLC doing business as Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse located at 1 Patriot Place to serve alcohol starting at 10 a.m. on Sundays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Motion to approve LLH LLC doing business as Trader Joe's, number 528, located at 350 Patriot Place, change of officers / directors and change of ownership interest application to reflect Isaac Chitka, replacing Lori Mead as she has relinquished her ownership interest in the company.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Oh, another electric pole. Motion to approve Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc. petition for pole attachment for North Street utility pole number 40, Verizon to construct, attach, and maintain telecommunication wires and wireless attachments, including fiber optic cable, remote nodes, brackets, and pole top, small cell antenna, and pole top extensions, electric meter, radio mounting bracket, power supply, rectifier, diplexers on the existing utility pole.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None.
Motion to execute the purchase and sales agreement for 175 Mechanic Street, Foxborough, Massachusetts.
Second.
Is there any discussion on that? Any concerns? Not by anybody?
No, but
No.
gotta be soon, because that building's falling in on
Yeah.
itself.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to award the disposition of real property located at 76 North High Street pursuant to the RFP process.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to approve Select Board meeting minutes from March 17th, 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. Good evening.